Welcome, everybody, to this edition of Beers with Bill, our Christmas edition. I was going to put my Christmas tree in the background, but unfortunately, I couldn't do it without revealing the rest of the house, which would upset my wife. So this is the Christmas theme. This is my favorite music box. I did a little crank one. My granddaughter absolutely loves it, but it's been my favorite since I bought it in 2006. Justin, welcome back to Beers with Bill, the Christmas edition. Do you want to take a minute and talk to us about the duet 22?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So this is our reoccurring Pale Ale series that was started long before I got there, and was one of my favorite beers back when I was a customer of Counterpoint before I started working there. This version we did a little bit differently. We focused on trying to cram in as many Ontario ingredients as we possibly could. So the grain bill is, I think, 95% Ontario grain. The only exception to that is I think there's a small amount of oats, a decent amount of oats that we did not source from Canada necessarily. And then we have two Ontario hops, both from Tavistock Hop Farms. We've got the classic Cascade. Of course, Ontario Cascade's a little bit different. It's got more of that herbal kind of grassy note in Ontario, which is kind of cool. And then we have Triple Pearl, which is kind of known as Ontario's kind of big juicy hop. Not quite as punchy as some of the other stuff that we've seen, but it definitely does the job.
Thank you. I see Graham and Taylor have joined us. Welcome, Graham. Welcome, Taylor.
Good day. Good day. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Nice to have you back on the show, Graham.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Mostly
so I had my whole big question to start with, and that was, you've just done a major rebrand. You want to kind of share that with us?
Yeah, sure. I think, what in particular, what do you want to know?
I don't know, just kind of like talk to us. What brought it about and the idea behind all the changes?
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, for sure. Part of it stemmed from, I guess, Rich leaving Counterpoint in March, and really looked at, it just caused myself to take a fresh look at the company and the direction that I wanted it to go. And I loved our old brand, but it, I would say, decidedly represented sort of Rich in a way that, the big theme was sort of music and classical kind of theme with piano keys and that type of thing. And it's something that I just didn't relate to on a personal level that much to be carrying it on my own. And I just felt I couldn't do it justice. Rich had a big part in that, coming up with that theme as well. So it was just something that I felt could change and probably should change. And if it was something, since I was carrying sort of Counterpoint on my own from that point on. So, deep dive into what we had been doing over the past, I guess at that point was just over 2 years, in the community and as well as where I wanted to see or where I wanted to take Counterpoint moving forward. So, it really is just, community has always been a big priority for us. We were taking steps and doing some things that were, sort of sustainable on the theme of sustainability, and so sort of combining those two to really represent what we wanted Counterpoint to be.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you've gone through a lot in the last 10 months, 12 months, with everything with COVID, with buying out your partner, to the rebrand. How are you staying grounded right now?
I'm not.
You're not?
No way. No. I'm trying. Mainly trying to take some time like sort of when I'm at home, just focusing on at home stuff, family and the to-do list and all that stuff. That's very separate from work. And then I mean, I do a bit of yoga from time to time, and I've tried to start running again, that kind of thing, just to take some time with myself and clear my mind. So it's all pretty helpful, but I'm far from grounded right now.
With everything that's going on, most of us are pretty far from being grounded.
Yeah, for sure. I laugh because when did we cancel the in-person Christmas party? Probably Saturday or Friday, we decided.
Yeah, late Thursday.
Thursday, sorry, yeah. So, it was interesting because I was at Arabella on Wednesday, and then I think they announced Thursday that they had an exposure on Monday, and then we had decided. I mean, it was busy there, and I didn't feel very comfortable, but I didn't leave. And then on Sunday, I get an email from them to say that there was another exposure. So I had a cold, which I assumed was from my German kids, but having symptoms and having been in that exposure location, I just decided to isolate and I just got tested this morning, so I'm just waiting for results, which I feel okay about. It turns out it was a very low risk exposure, but still one of those things, right? Just one more thing to try and deal with. So
I think we made the right call.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I know when I threw it at you, it was like, I think I'm probably just going to make the call, but I wanted to talk to you beforehand. So appreciate that. Yeah. Derek's curious, is there a meaning within the new logo?
Yeah, for sure. Justin, do you have your uniform on? Oh, you do? Look, awesome. All right. So I could try and pull up, I wasn't prepared for this. I could pull up a graphic, but if everybody has a duet bottle, then that's great. So the main, I guess, obvious icon there is the C for Counterpoint. And then we look at the way that the C has been stylized. It kind of has like a little notch there and there, but and then if you look at the top two waves, sort of looking at a human icon there, a humanity, community, that kind of thing, and then the rest is just essentially sort of like natural elements, so whether the hills or a bit of water, that kind of thing. So just that part being sort of focused on sustainability, as well as just sort of like outdoors, that kind of thing, which is something that I enjoy and resonates with me. But also, and it's not one of those things where I battled with, how much do we focus on that when we're in Kitchener, which is not a huge sort of like an outdoors park, but there's so much around us that I think we just don't get a chance to see. I mean, I try and get out to the Walter Bean Trail or Grand River, somewhere along the Grand River every week or so, every couple of weeks, just to like as a hike, and it's so close to us. And I saw a couple of pictures recently that I was really, really impressed with, what we have nature-wise in our backyard. So that sums up the icon, the mark there.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us, Graham.
Yeah, for sure.
I know you were totally unprepared for me to ask that question because we didn't actually talk about the questions.
We didn't. No big deal.
So I'm curious, with everything that's going on, what would I find on your nightstand for reading material right now?
I think I've got B is for Bicycle, which is a kid's book about the alphabet and bikes. And I have a picture that my daughter dropped, but that's about all I have right now. So it'll be like if there's any New Year's resolution, it's to pick up on a few books again. So but I haven't really been reading anything. Audiobooks though, I've been listening to Tasting Beer, Volume 2, I believe, from Randy Mosier, which if you ever want to really dig in on getting critical with your beer tasting, that is it's an awesome book and very interesting one.
Yes, very well done.
Yeah.
Very well done. It gives you a grounding of actually taste and flavor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just going to switch over to Taylor for a few minutes and ask her how she's doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Hi, Scott. Taylor, welcome to Beers with Bill. We're all curious how you feel having now gone through the Miss World contest.
Oh, it was great. It was a really, really awesome experience. I got to meet so many people. Just the confidence that it gave me and the insight to how incredible all the women that I was competing against actually are was very humbling. Like every single girl there had dedicated so much time and effort into the projects. Like my STEM one, they all had their own. One girl was focusing on creating, in a sense, like a history kind of book for women, Canadian women, and making that presentable to a younger audience, approachable for a younger audience. There was another girl doing a project focused on visually impaired individuals and getting them access to fitness and different ways for them to work out, like in a gym and whatnot. And just all the projects that were going on were incredible. And yeah, I had a wonderful time. So,
well, we're all proud of you and glad that this has been a positive experience for you. And where are things with the STEM project right now?
I've currently been looking for more online options right now. My original plan that I had kind of pitched to you all a couple months ago, since with the developments of COVID and online learning, offline learning, going back and forth, has kind of put a kibosh on my original idea. So just looking more ways to make it adaptable to an online format and something that teachers would be, or individuals would be okay running online. I know kids are so like tired of staring at a screen at this point in time. So just kind of revamping what format would be best consumed.
Okay. Thank you, Taylor.
Yeah.
Graham, which beer are we going to go to next and talk about?
I'm going to suggest that we try Vine Warp. How do you feel about that, Justin? Cool. Yeah, I hope you guys all have water, chips, snacks, Advil, Gatorade, like the beers that we've got in the lineup tonight. Well, a couple of them are heavy hitters.
Cheers, Graham.
Cool. Cheers, guys. So, yeah, Vine Warp. This, much like my first child, was a pleasant, unplanned surprise. But this is a beer that was set up to be an IPA. And my brother, who's been telling me for months that he will get me some wine grape skins from the winery he works at, suddenly sprung it on me to say, hey, he's got wine, got some grapes for you. So bring some buckets down. So anyway, we've got some buckets. and we figured we needed about 4 or 5 to do the job, and they came back with 1, and then so we're like, oh, all right, well, we'll wait it out, and then like for the next 3 weeks, they went to Hamilton or Niagara to pick up wine grapes, 1 bucket at a time. So, anyways, we got them all and froze some, refrigerated some, and it seemed like they survived. And really, just instead of dry hopping, we aged this on kind of a re-fermentation, I guess, with some wine grape skins and a lees. So, kind of an interesting, like, unplanned, and it was sort of a test run. We've got a bit of a project, a potential sort of partnership with a new bar/restaurant that might be opening. So we might be doing some particular beer for them, which would be along these lines. So it was kind of a trial and test run and see how it went. And it's cool. It's pretty neat. I mean, there's a lot of. I'll let Justin actually touch on some of the finer details of this beer, but I'm pleased with it, and I'm excited to see kind of with actual planning where we can take this.
Well, we'll pull Justin and let him give us a little more detail.
Sure, yeah. Like Graham was saying, it was a fun one. We kind of unexpectedly got the call for some grapes, and we were told there were one type of grape, so we kind of thought the IPA we were working with would marry quite well with it, and it was semi-intentional at that point. And then the grapes showed up, and we weren't sure if they were those grapes or not. So we took a look. They were along the same lines, so we were happy with that. But we had a mix of white grape skins and the lees from a red wine batch. So we knew we were going to be mixing and matching a little bit, but we knew there was also going to be some funk at play. So just putting the skins in like that, we knew we could potentially get some wild yeast in there as well. So it was one of those, like, kind of keep your fingers crossed and see what happens. But we were really happy with the way it turned out. And for me, I get a lot of the white grape character and some funk. It kind of tastes like a funky sour. No, it's not really sour, but in that vein of funky beers. It seems like a lot older and a lot more intentional than it is. So happy with that.
So on the re-fermentation aspect of it, you're using the natural yeast that would be on the outside skin of the grapes.
Yeah, and so we had pulled. So fermentation had completed, and we pulled a large portion of the initial strain out, but you always leave some yeast behind. So introducing the grapes and the lees, you're introducing some sugars as well. So that would kick off the re-fermentation with the yeast that's in there, and then whatever else we introduce. So it's controlled chaos, but good.
It's almost like a double, like a cross fermentation process. New sugars and new to eat, or for the old yeast to eat, plus new yeast to eat the old sugars.
Yeah.
An interesting process, a little bit of a risk, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. And it was one of those things that we were very mindful of it the whole way through. And even when we package it, we know there's potential for wild yeast in there. So we have to be very careful with how we package it, when we package it, and kind of the steps down the line as well. It's just, it's like any beer where you introduce a new bacteria, even sour beer, like a kettle sour to a degree, you got to just treat it a little differently.
So I asked Graham what was on his night table. I'm going to ask you what's on your playlist right now.
Oh, me? Oh,
yeah.
Geez. Well, I like everybody. I got anybody who uses Spotify, I got my Spotify Wrapped playlist, and then that's just frequent at the moment. But there was an artist I found today that was really weird, and I liked it. Let's see. Actually, if I pull up my Spotify, Shaky Graves is on there right now, so that's probably the quickest answer.
So with the three of you there now and totally different taste in music, who decides what gets played when people are actually inside the brewery?
Depends who's working, I think.
ask Taylor.
Oh yeah.
I'm not allowed to pick the music.
You're not?
What? You have full permission to pick the music when you're working. Just give you a hard time when
Christmas music too early, so
So what's on your playlist, Taylor?
Christmas music right now. But my Spotify Wrapped, like Justin's been listening to, is pretty full of Shania Twain and some like 70s, 80s rock.
How's that working with the customers?
Oh, that doesn't get played.
Okay.
What do you play when people are there? I have no idea. Besides, I see the history of playing Christmas music.
I just play whatever's most recently played. I think it usually ends up being like the Arkells or like indie rock or something along those lines.
Predictable for Justin and I, at least.
Very predictable. So Graham, tell me, how has COVID changed your messaging over the last year?
I don't know. I mean, I guess overall hasn't changed like the overall tone or theme. I think, there's the odd time in there where I throw in some, support local, support us, support other small business, that type of thing. But I mean, it's everybody's that we know, I think, is already on that train, and I don't think everybody needs to be reminded. I also feel like it's just trying to, I don't know, spotlight on us, be like, hey, look at us, don't forget about us. But I think there are other ways to do that besides just reminding people. I don't know. I mean, the overall theme being consistent, and then just sort of updates whenever are needed. So, I mean, I haven't posted anything yet this week, but we'll be mentioning a bit of a slowdown or a lower capacity and Christmas hours and holiday hours, that kind of thing. And I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what to expect currently. So we may be shut down in no time anyway. So we'll see what happens. It's more of a spontaneous, like more irregular, I guess, is the thing. I used to try and do updates kind of every week. But yeah, we're just a wait and see kind of thing.
Okay. I'm going to ask Justin a question, but I'm also going to come back to you with the same question, so you're prepared. Justin, we know that Graham was out at Arabella the other day. Who's your favorite local craft brewery or restaurant that you like to hang out with?
Oh boy, that's a tough question. Honestly, like it probably is Arabella. Any friends that come out of town, that's where we end up going because there's a good selection for everybody. But if it was just me, I'd probably head to Shortfinger. I also like to go out to Willibald occasionally. It's a little bit more of a drive, but those are kind of the main spots.
Okay. So that was the trick question. Now the question I really want to ask everybody: what do you see that's new and exciting in the craft beer industry that's happening right now that maybe we haven't seen yet?
I've got an answer for that. There's a really, really cool brewery that I was really excited to see and had to make the trip out for. It's in Meaford, which is just outside of, not too far outside of Collingwood, near Thornbury area, that kind of way. It's a very small brewery, believe it or not, a little smaller than us for their brew system. And they ferment all of their beer in oak barrels, and they do really cool stuff. Lots of saisons, some mixed firm stuff. Really cool guys. The brewer used to be a head brewer at Bellwoods before going and starting his own thing. Really cool little farm brewery. Big green barn. Cool, Volkswagen bus parked out front. The whole shebang. Pretty neat.
Okay, Taylor, the question's coming.
Which question?
What do you see that's new and exciting in the craft beer industry?
For me, okay, so I've been pretty like Counterpoint focused for the last little while, so I haven't actually really ventured out to many other breweries. But one thing that I have noticed just in now working in the craft beer industry is just how supportive everyone is. And I think that's so great. Just given COVID, like people will come in who work at other breweries and are all about trying our beers and just hyped for what we're doing. And I think that's so great. Like I was kind of aware that that was a thing, but I experiencing that and seeing that in real life is very different. And I just think that is so, so great. But yes, we've drank a lot of Counterpoint beer recently, so I don't know much else that's going on.
Cynical side of me would go, that's a really smooth recovery there, because I know that Scott doesn't drink anything but PBR. I'm just kidding, Scott.
Not anymore. Taylor works at a brewery now, so I've had to upgrade my taste.
I get that.
There all the time. If you ever want to hang out with Scott, you can come into Counterpoint and find him there. So,
Well, we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks, and maybe I will come hang out with Scott. It'd be interesting to have you on the other side of the bar instead of me and see what happens. You can yell at me and throw me out. So, Graham, what have you seen that's new and exciting in the craft beer industry?
My first question is, have you ever thrown Taylor out?
No, gosh, no. Yeah, I've had her leave because I didn't have her favorite beer style, but I've never thrown her out.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Currently, I think my favorite right now are like, I don't even know how to, I mean, Justin would probably be able to pull my ideas of what I like right now and put it formally into beer terms, but really looking at like, I'd say farmhouse styles or like hybrid, like lager, almost like farmhouse lagers, right? So something with a bit of character, but that are crisp and clean. So that's currently, besides my usual crutch, which is like boozy imperial stout. So kind of like both ends of the spectrum, but I enjoy the clean beers currently as well with a bit of character.
Well, that's fair. Justin's got Belgians with a question mark behind it.
Justin's trying to turn Counterpoint to Belgian, a pure Belgian brewery, but
yeah,
we have too many hops for that.
So you're noticing sort of a move towards more traditional farmhouse styles and a lot more move towards clear, easy drinking beers like lagers and pilsners?
Not just that in particular. I think the shift is going towards trying to almost like perfect again, I think, some traditional styles. So whether it's, I mean, you see the last couple of years has been a big boom for, pilsners and lagers in the craft beer world. It seems like brown ales are making a bit of a comeback. Red ales are like, it's not uncommon for us to have somebody come in and ask for something along those lines, and it's not something we do frequently, but we've, I guess, even in the last half a year, we've done a couple of those. So, and then, yeah, I think like traditional styles and just sort of perfecting or reinventing, but trying to do them right versus like going crazy and something ridiculous.
So moving back towards more traditional crafting styles.
Yeah, I would say that is the trend that I see predict.
Okay. I'm going to jump on to Derek's question because that is kind of intriguing. How do you decide what goes in a bottle and what goes in a can?
Part of it is the idea going into having the ability to can through Block 3 was it can help us out immensely on a time frame situation. So they can do in a matter of minutes what we would do in about 8 hours. So it helps. I mean, it costs, there's something tied into there cost wise, but it's still affordable, and it also just makes life pretty easy. We were just sort of planning on focusing on having our light beers in tall cans, and it's something that people like to grab 4 of, or take to the cottage or the pool or whatever, and just kind of load up on that. Easier to transport, that kind of thing. And then sort of our finer, or I would say, like, I don't know, if we're looking at like tier 2s and 3s, that kind of thing would remain in bottles. So we kind of cheated with our last IPA, but the time was right, and it was very convenient, and we had some time constraints that the canning helped us make it through the week, kind of thing. So worked out well.
Okay. And I guess that's fair. You're saying your tier 1s, you can throw them in a can. They're fast, they're easy, they're portable. And then the signature beers, the tier 2, the tier 3, you're going to put in a bottle because they're your beers, so to speak.
Yeah, generally. I mean, even the easier crushable beers were sort of, there are beers, but I think it's sort of to be honest, I mean, some of it has to do with price point too. Like, people expect cans to be super cheap. And so if we start putting in, like, I don't know, barrel, well, besides Black is Beautiful, it's a bit of a different situation, but barrel aged beers or super hoppy IPAs, like, we're not going to be able to price them at a point where people, I don't know. I think it's sort of an image thing when it comes to that.
Okay.
Our bottles are a little more expensive because they're nicer beers generally, and then our lighter beers are in cans.
Yep. Troy's made an observation too. We noticed that there's a lot of sort of sweet cookie stouts out this Christmas season. Justin, what's your opinion on that?
Oh yeah, it's I've seen quite a few of them myself. We dabbled a bit with our. We just went a little early with the white stout we did, Lawrence White Stout. but no, they're fun beers too. Just got to be in the mood for it. That's all.
You want to talk to us about I'm assuming we're going to do Good Things Grows next before we'll do Black is Beautiful at the end.
Sure, yeah, that works for me. I think there's 2 more in there, right? Oh yeah, that one. Forgot what we had. Yeah, Good Things Grow would be a good one now. And actually, if you're in the mood for something a little desserty, I think this might fit the bill in a weird way.
Cheers, Justin, Graham, Taylor.
You got the old label on these guys. Keep your Counterpoint memorabilia.
Yeah. Plums come through really light on this.
I can't remember. We got those plums not too long after I started. I remember sitting down over buckets and processing these plums. And we kind of stashed them away for a special beer. They were out of Niagara, right, Graham?
Yeah, exactly. Just came across. I think actually somebody had purchased them and then they couldn't use them, so they asked if we could use them. So they were perfect, right condition, and yeah, we just backpacked them and froze them for a bit. But we used quite a bit, I would say. Not as much fruit as like Too Legit Bill, but a good amount, kind of like the same line as most of our fruit beers, like about 15%.
Okay.
Beer, but plums are fairly delicate. Like, I think on its own, I mean, it's an obvious taste and flavor, but I don't know, it anything, and it ferments as well. So a lot of that sweetness that you get by eating it on its own kind of dissipates, and get a bit of tartness almost at the end.
Yep. Well, it's just like the dark farmhouse stands out more in my mind. That's all.
Yeah, this,
And the
yeah,
plums,
for sure.
the
This
plums
is
are
one,
that tertiary background flavor. So
yeah, this is one I kind of just forced on Justin. I was like, want a dark beer with plums in it. Like, okay. And so he designed it. Yeah, he designed it, and it turned out great. Like I love this beer a lot. And it just comes across definitely like, a mild dessert, not something that you're, it's not overly boozy. It's not sweet. There's no lactose, but it's got some great delicate flavors in there.
no, I'm liking it. I didn't mean anything by just that the plum flavor's a little bit lighter than I thought it was going to be. So
Yeah, that's one of the fun things, like Graham was saying, delicate flavor with the dark
Yeah.
roasted malts. It's that balance thing. This is actually a version of I do a dark saison with cherries that I've been working on for a little while, and this is like a riff on that, so similar base and stuff. Yeah, the cherry shines through a little bit more than the plum. So, but
yeah. So I'll throw it up in the air, and you can decide who's going to tackle it first. What's next for Counterpoint?
Taylor.
More beer.
Good answer.
Well, we got new brew system, so we can make more beer. I'd say that counts as next. New year, more beer.
Yeah, that's true. That's our plan. Yeah, we you guys have probably seen it if you've been in there, but the new tank. I think actually we had it last time I was on. We talked about the new tank, but
Yep.
it's finally, we've got the infrastructure now to properly use it, which is exciting. And then we did purchase a new system, well, a new to us system from a brewery in the States that was their second system. So they started out very similarly to us on a very small system. They went to a small system. So we're doubling our capacity. So nice small upgrade, which means no double batches for the foreseeable future, which is nice, mostly for Justin. And I've spent 12 hours a day brewing. And then, and hopefully, I mean, we've been selling a good amount of beer, and more so, I guess, as maybe we're more established, but to licensees like bars and restaurants. So that eats up like a keg or 2 kegs or 3 kegs, just eats a huge chunk out of our batch of beer. So this will hopefully allow us to do more of that, a little bit more wholesale, and then also and now that we have 6 taps in the tap room, we got to make sure that we try and keep those full as well. So
Okay.
yeah.
Justin, got anything to add on that?
Yeah, what are you making soon?
IPA was today. Can't remember what's next week. All the beers, all good beers. Yeah, bigger batches. What they said.
Okay. So does this mean when we do our next collab, which I hope was going to be for my 64th birthday party coming up in February, that you will not have to start at 6 o'clock in the morning and tell me, oh, come in at noon because I don't need you till the second batch?
Yeah, that's the plan. It should be it should be a lot more manageable. Just one big batch, which is good. More time for all the little stuff.
Yeah, Bill, come in at 6 so we can get out of here by noon.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
David wants to know if you're selling new swag yet.
Yeah, conveniently, our model this evening is Justin Kluche, head brewer and head model. He can show you our swag is our crew neck sweater with our sweet renewed direction design. So we've got that. We've got a white t-shirt, same design, and a navy t-shirt, that design as well. some hats. So currently that's our setup. We've got a sweet new collab design we're doing with somebody in the beer industry that won't mention yet because it'll be a fun release for some new t-shirts as well. And then I don't know, we've got a plan. We're almost turning 3, so we've got a plan for that too.
Yeah, you're almost through the terrible twos. So, what's next for Graham?
Man, grounding myself, meditating for a year. I don't know. It is. I've got just a lot of catch up to do on it. I don't know. It seems kind of ironic, but even though I've got staff and awesome staff, and it's almost like I don't have to worry too much about much going on at the brewery. Like everybody's amazing, so it's really great in that respect. Much less stress, but I have and I've put it on myself just to focus more on the administrative side, and so I've just got a lot. I've got a big to-do list of stuff to deal with. Like I don't know, CRA, government bodies, sort of structuring things, and I don't know. Somehow for some reason I'm bent on like creating some SOPs. Look out, guys. But just having some certain things on paper, just so we can run well and everybody's on the same page and that kind of thing. So instead of being the scatterbrain that I currently am.
Totally understand. Now that you've got qualified and well-trained staff who are doing an excellent and marvelous job, their heads are getting bigger as I speak, then you now have to get onto the administrative stuff.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I never would have really pictured myself as an administrative guy. I hate administration. But it's truly like I don't know. I can't say enough. I wish like Nick and Lauren were on because it's been amazing and I've got such a great team. But yeah, it just leads me into other directions, right? Where just trying to stay on the ball and then really just trying to run a business like legally is a lot of work and stay on top of things that are required. Like I don't know how it's possible, but it's more of a catch up game. So, and then on the other side of things, like I don't know. I mean, regardless, January would be a bit slower, and now it'll probably be. I don't know who's to say what'll happen, but also just sort of focus more on a bit more on with family and spending time with my kids as well. So when I'm not at work, so that's a goal, big goal. It's funny how hard you have to work for things like that.
Well, you've had 2+ years focused on a business. Now you've got to start focusing again on Graham and family life.
Well, yeah, and I just mean on my downtime. I'm still at the brewery, like I don't know, generally 5-6 days a week. So
Yeah.
that's not stopping.
Instead of 7?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a plus.
Yeah.
It's a plus.
So Justin, what's next on your list for yourself?
Abandoning Graham, I think, would be the short answer. Not. It's just because
On paper, I need it on paper.
Yeah. I'm just giving him a hard time. My partner and I are expecting our first at the end of February, so that's on my mind. So the next couple of months are probably going to be pretty busy getting the brewery ready for with the new system and getting a lot of beer in place and stuff like that. And then I'm going to be taking off a little bit of time to be with our daughter when she's first born, and looking forward to that. But also looking forward to all the fun stuff getting ready at the brewery for that too.
Oh, congratulations!
Oh, thank you.
Seems like everybody I hire just heads off on maternity leave.
Taylor, is there something we don't know about?
I was just gonna say, well, I'm not gonna go on maternity leave anytime soon.
I like the expression on Scott's face beside you there.
Next for me, just working away. I loved working at the brewery so far, building up some regulars. I've started seeing some more familiar faces come in, so that's been really, really awesome. Hopefully COVID doesn't kibosh that in the new year. Hopefully that kind of trickles out. Everyone gets their boosters and everything goes back to how it was like 2 weeks ago, that would be nice. But we are hopefully going to move to a new place in the new year. I think that's the next off the checklist thing for us. So have some more space, maybe get a dog. But that's about it. Otherwise, just working away. No maternity leave over here.
Unfortunately, so you've got Scott housebroken now, so you can afford to get a dog?
He still uses the pee pads.
And every day I'm going to undo whatever training she does with the dog.
I would expect nothing less from you. Okay. Who wants to talk to me about Black is Beautiful?
Where are you pointing? Yeah, I'm happy to. Are we about to crack that?
Yep, we're about to crack that.
All right, let me grab it and then we'll dig in.
The only reason why I said that was because this collaboration, the brewing part of it was done before I was with Counterpoint. So Graham will be able to tell the story a little bit better.
Okay. Has anybody tried this yet? Nobody.
No,
yet?
but we heard a lot about it from Peter Collins last week when he was on the show.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Yeah, this is amazing. Like, this collaboration is, I mean, it's really cool that this had started, I mean, a year ago almost, and or over a year ago, I guess. So yeah, 2020, when George Floyd was killed, it was Weathered Souls Brewing. You know, I'm sure you all know, but I'll touch on it. Started this to raise funds, essentially to provide assistance and fight for justice for those for people of color who are mistreated on a daily basis. Just to put it simply, I mean, it's obviously much more history and much more in depth than just that, but that was the instigating moment, I guess. And so obviously it was something that we were keen on doing and supported, you know, provided, I think it was about $4,000 or $5,000 last year to the African, Caribbean, and Black Network of Waterloo Region from our initial brew, which was just a basic imperial stout, straight up the recipe that Weathered Souls had provided. And then we decided that, I mean, ultimately we wanted to do something more than that. The more, you know, the beer, making the beer, selling it, donating is great, but it doesn't do the whole cause any justice at all. So we planned to do an event, and that is still the plan. It was sort of initially slated for, I think, a fall this year, but didn't really work out, didn't pan out. And then we're planning for early 2022, but yeah, this Omicron might put a wrench in those plans too. But for the second round that we had planned for the event in particular was to each age Black is Beautiful in our own barrels. So the same breweries, Shortfinger, TWB, Block 3, and ourselves split up a batch, aged in a barrel of our choice. So Block 3 did the Mexican Sherry barrel. Rob did some type of Shortfinger barrel, so it's going to be funky. And then, actually, funny enough, I don't know, there was some lines got crossed, I think, but because both TWB and us got or used rum barrels. So knowing that, we decided to put a bit of a twist on this beer in particular, and yeah, like we just wanted to do something that melded well with that, but not, you know, completely altered the beer. So it's very much potently rummy beer with coffee, cocoa nibs, organic cocoa nibs, and some vanilla. So yeah, it's a big beer, and it's for a really good cause, and just we're saving some for an event to come. We just don't know exactly when that will be, but it will be definitely worth your while. I mean, yeah, to go and experience, but you'll be able to taste, you know, the beers from each of the breweries and that sort of thing. So, and then get also like more involved and just sort of exposed to sort of, you know, Black is Beautiful, purpose of it, and what it means to us locally.
Well, like everybody, I've got that wonderful, I get the coffee and the cocoa nibs and definitely the booziness out of the rum cask. Love the aroma to begin with, and then the taste just complements all of that.
Yeah, the barrel worked. I feel like they sent us like a quarter full of rum. It's there for sure.
Well, it really comes through, that's for sure. Justin, you want to add anything to that, or?
No, not really. I was just, you know, I remember seeing it last year when Counterpoint and everybody else did the beer, and tried last year's version. It was pretty good, and I was excited when I started at Counterpoint and we were going through the barrels to see this one there, which was really cool, and very excited to try it. And yeah, I think it was a fun thing to add the coffee and the and vanilla and cocoa nibs too, and I think it really kind of did complement, and it changed the beer. The base beer before we did all that was very tasty, but this just makes it something else. It's tasty in a different way. It's very good, and obviously a good cause. Happy to be part of a team that supports that.
Okay. Now, I promised everybody that Graham and I would talk a little bit about Opus 4. I'm not going to crack that open because I want to enjoy that on Christmas Day. But Graham, do you want to share a little bit with us about Opus 4?
Yeah, for sure. Happy to. You know, as much as there is to say about it, it's almost like there's very little to say about it that we did. It's a barrel aged beer that took on its own, well, I'd say more or less took on its own life. But it, you know, we had a hand in it, and it has purpose. This was the barrel we aged this in was used twice for 20 hertz. So our, you know, the usual sort of imperial stout, barrel aged imperial stout. So was a bourbon barrel. We got a couple years ago 2 rounds of you know, stout in there. So at that point, we decided that most of the oak and you know, booziness would be you know, kind of extinguished from the flavor profile. So we just, yeah, kind of like bière de garde style was the goal, but the bacteria took over quite a bit, and it turned out to be a very pleasant, I'd say decidedly sour, but very pleasant and complex beer. It's yeah, I don't know. Again, with barrel aging, you risk a lot in a way, and you just kind of let it do its thing. Justin, I can't remember if we had tasted it once or twice before we decided that it was ready, and then twice, yeah. yeah, I think the first time we tasted it, it just wasn't quite a thing yet. It wasn't its own beer. And I mean, even before Justin started, you know, I did it as well, and it was amazing to see how it developed. Sorry, my dog's going crazy. But yeah, this was so an amber ale, and then we added some Brett from Escarpment Labs, and we added some dregs from Cantillon, Crooked Stave, Short Finger and Reverence Barrel Works, as well as like our own Opus One, which is the original, obviously sour, sort of barrel aged sour from ourselves, our own brewery. So pretty neat. I don't know if you guys, I mean, anybody who homebrew or brew, you know that like the dregs on the bottom of the bottle conditioned beers are full of awesome yeast that's just kind of dormant. So sanitizing, usually just sanitizing the top of the bottle with like a lighter or something, and then we just dumped it in. So just happened to work out to be a really cool combination of yeast and bacteria.
Yeah. We've had a couple, like we've had Reverence Barrel Works on, and Robin Shortfinger's been on. We've got we're not perfect at it, but we do understand barrel aging is not a science and more of an art and patience. So.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, yeah, exactly. I know you're familiar with barrel aged beer in general, for sure. And yeah, it's just one of those things where it was a let's try this. And I mean, it wasn't a whole lot. The beer, you know, we keep the barrel clean, treat it well, make, you know, good beer to put in there, planning that it's gonna, you know, with the plans it's gonna be in there for a while. Use, you know, I guess a byproduct from high quality beer from, and you know, in general it should go well. It's just a matter of time, I think, in the right time. But yeah, of course, there's a risk for sure.
Yeah, and
But
every
it's fun.
barrel's got its own personality, right?
Yeah, it's really fun, and I'm really pleased with this, and the fact that for me it'll be probably like my New Year's Eve, like midnight beer, you know. And I hope, like, instead of, you know, for some who prefer beer over wine or champagne or whatever, then like I hope they crack something like this. It doesn't have to be this, but yeah, I hope it's something like this that people are enjoying on New Year's Eve or Christmas or a special occasion somewhere.
Graham, Justin, Taylor, thank you for joining me this evening for our 2021 Christmas show. Appreciate the gift of your time from all three of you. And so on behalf of everybody from Beers with Bill, thank you for joining me. You'd think I've been drinking a lot of beer, and I haven't been. Scott, you have permission to make fun of me on that one. Thank you for joining me this evening. And we look forward to wishing everybody a prosperous 2022.
Yeah, thanks for having us.